Now I'd like to introduce Miss Ali Sheedy.
Hi, I'm a little bit nervous. Okay, they said that I should make some opening remarks, and I really don't know what to say, except I'm glad that you all turned out, and I know it's 2 weeks before exams. And I'd just like to hear whatever questions you have and have more of a conversation than me just talking up here. So.
Hi, Ellie. Right here. Tell us about your new movie.
Who asked me that question?
Right
I can't
here.
see anybody. Oh, sorry. This is a sort of weird voice coming out of nowhere. The new movie is about it's called Made to Order, and it's a comedy about a very rich, young Beverly Hills woman who doesn't care about anybody but herself, and going to clubs and things like that. And it's a fairy tale. Her father, she gets arrested for driving recklessly, and her father wishes upon a star that he didn't have a daughter anymore. And so in jail, her fairy godmother appears to her and changes her into a maid. Basically, she has no past anymore, no money, no credit cards, nothing. And she's on the street by herself, so she has to get a job, and the only job she can get is this maid in a mansion. And she sort of cleans up her act, sort of.
Thanks. Hey, Allie. Allie, over here, to your left.
I see. There's 2 microphones. Okay.
My name's Meg. How are you?
Hi. Great.
Okay. I don't have a question for you. I have something to give to you. I have 2 friends who recently graduated from UCLA, and they wrote a novel. And my copy, I read it, and it has you're a character in it. And so, on official Ali Sheedy Day, I thought I would officially give you a honorary copy of this.
That's great. Thanks.
Ali, you've been in some big films with some really up-and-coming actors who've actually come, so so to speak. I mean, they're here.
What?
They're not up-and-coming anymore. They've arrived. Anyway, excuse me. Could you give us some of your impressions of these actors? Say Sean Penn and Judd Nelson. Nice guys.
Those are 2 you want to hear about?
Yeah,
Sean Penn and Judd Nelson. I heard Sean spoke here. Somebody told me he did. He did. I love Sean. I can't say I'm a very good friend of his or that I know him very well, but the first movie I ever did was Bad Boys, and he was the lead in it. And so it was very educational for me. I had never been on a movie set before, and I was watching this person who's intensely concentrated on his work, to the point where the outside world doesn't even exist, and just took his time and did his work and didn't run around, and it was just, I guess, took it all very seriously. And I learned a lot from that. I watched him, and I'll tell you something really funny. In The Breakfast Club, that character that I was playing was Sean Penn. That's where I got that character from. Honestly, it was me and stuff from high school that I kept thinking when I was reading the script about Sean Penn, just thinking about him, and I started to, do these kind of things that I thought he did, and somehow those mannerisms ended up as Allison. He doesn't even know that. Anyway. So he's great. And so Judd, you want to know about?
Yeah.
Judd is I'm pretty close to, and I think he's really great. He's very smart, and he's very literate, and he's a hard time with people because his character that he is, just himself, is much bigger than life. And a lot of people get very put off by him, and I think a lot of directors don't know how to handle him. He can be a little intimidating. And so he's very, very sweet and very fun, and he's doing a lot of theater right now too. I think he's going to be a great stage actor also, because he wants to be able to do all of that. I love him.
One more question. You were on Hill Street Blues. How was that
Right.
working on that set?
That was fun. It was those people. I've been doing that show for so many years that they had this kind of dynamic going on. I had never even seen that show before, and I came in, and it's kind of a little machine operation over there, or it was. They're just all. So I just try to fit myself in and watch them all. It was great.
Thank you very much.
Right.
My name is John, and I'm a member of Circle K International, an organization devoted to community service. And on behalf of your efforts in community service, namely your public service announcement, I would like to award you with honorary membership in UCLA Circle K.
Oh, great. Thanks. I have to do this more often, It's great.
Hello, Ali.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw you on Say Almost Fire. It was a great movie. I really enjoyed that movie.
Thanks.
And I know you were co-starred with Rob Lowe with both Say Almost Fire and Oxford Blues.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, off screen, do you know both Rob Lowe and Melissa Gilbert?
Yeah, I know both of them.
Oh, well, both of them are engaged. I'm so excited. Well, by the way, speaking of earlier times, have you appeared in earlier TV commercials you appeared in?
Yeah, commercials.
Yeah.
When I was 15, I did commercials till I was 18 or 19, so I supported myself.
Oh, now that's neat. Boy. Oh, you appeared first time on television as a TV actress debut with Ted Danson?
No, I did television before that.
Oh, you
But
did?
that was last year.
Oh, well, I want to thank you, and I want to shake your hand for your support and effort.
Thanks.
How you doing, Ollie?
Great.
First of all, I think you're a great actress, and I think you're very cool.
Oh, thank you
And,
very much.
What I would be interested in learning about, or what I want to ask you is about maybe a condensed version of your life story. You know, how you got involved in becoming an actress, and some of your favorite films that you've been in, what you enjoyed doing in them. Just maybe a condensed version of your life.
Okay, I was born in New York City. I was a dancer with American Ballet Theater. Started acting when I was very little, and I started to do commercials. After that, I wrote a book, and then I started to do commercials. And I knew that was what I wanted to do. When I was 18, I got on the plane and came out here. I didn't know anybody. And I slept in somebody's office for a while until I could find an apartment. And I went to USC for a while. No, I'm not there anymore. No. I quit. Had enough. Then what? And then I was out here, and I've been studying acting for years, and I found an agent just by knocking on a door, and got small parts and one thing after the other, and it escalated. I was never discovered, and nothing like that happened. It was just a lot of auditioning and a lot of trying for stuff, and it seems like it happened very quickly, but it doesn't seem that way to me. It seemed like it took a long time. And what else am I doing? And now I don't just want to act, but I'd like to learn about producing and be able to do that. I'm really interested in that. And writing also. I'd like to write not only some novels, but I had some advice from some people that I admire very much, some actresses who said, if you know how to write yourself a part, because there's just not that much that comes along that's really great. So I'd like to do that too. Take a screenwriting class. And what else? And you want to know about which movies I like? I like the ones that they show clips from. And I liked a movie I did called Twice in a Lifetime a lot, that Gene Hackman and Ellen Burstyn and Anne Margaret were in, and Amy Madigan. Just because to work with somebody of that caliber is incredibly instructional. You know, I learned a lot from those people, and mostly by bugging them and asking them questions and things.
Cool, thanks a lot.
All right, you're welcome.
Also, do you guys form is there kind of like a family or kind of friendship bonds, like with who you work with when you're on the set?
Yeah, there is. I mean, you just sort of get into a kind of dynamic with everybody because you see them every day, and it's just this little world that's just so kind of exciting to be a part of. And then, those kind of bonds, they kind of last afterwards, but not really. I have a couple of friends who are good friends, but I'm not. I mean, some of those people that I worked with I haven't seen in years, you know. But when you do see them, it's nice. You sort of have this kind of secret adventure you had in the past that you always remember.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hi, Alec. As everyone's aware, especially connected with the industry, there isn't enough KY jelly in the world to squeeze everyone who wants to into Hollywood.
Right.
I'm wondering, is there any one major dominant factor that enabled you to supersede the rest and reach the ASUCLA podium and stardom? Or maybe two factors.
And start what? And reach the UCLA podium and
reach stardom.
Oh, and stardom. Oh.
I was using the podium as a symbol of reaching that.
I think so too. I don't know.
Maybe hard work, determination.
Keep listing them.
Right contacts.
All that kind of, I just always knew what I wanted to do. And even when I was a little girl, and I knew I would be able to do it, always. And so I just did it, no matter what happened. I thought, it doesn't matter, I'm going to do it, you know.
Excellent, thanks.
You're welcome.
Hey, Allie. I was wondering, one of the things I always like about you in movies is you seem so comfortable. It's like, no matter what you're doing, you're walking around in this pair of old jeans type stuff. Like, it doesn't bother you at all if there's a camera on you. But I was reading an interview with Judd Nelson, who was talking about you and, how you're old friends and stuff. And he said the one movie you did that made him feel really uncomfortable was Blue City, because you all were in love. And he said the worst part for him in the entire movie was when you had to get in bed together. He said he couldn't believe it because he's looking there going, this is my pal. I can't get in bed with her. I know it. So how about you? Was that movie really disconcerting for you, or did you just have a real easy time with that too?
What do you mean? Did I have a difficult time with the sex scene with Judd?
Well, with the sex scene, just like saying, well, here's my buddy that I know for such a long time. And
I did not have trouble with that, no.
So it wasn't hard at all to say, oh, I'm in love with this guy, even though you knew him so well?
Mm-mm. It was easy. I think he's great, and I just thought, I'm in love with him. My character was in love with him in the movie, and so I just started going around thinking, I'm in love with him, and found all these things about him I loved. I didn't have a problem with it. I don't know why John did, but...
Okay, cool. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
I heard you speak at a support a lot of causes like this, and I was just wondering if you could tell us what you've done recently.
Actually, about a year ago, I did an educational film about AIDS for high schools and things like that. And reform movement, which is to educate. I'm part of. I did an announcement about, just saying, be conscious about it, and different things like going up to Sacramento about the water bill, the toxic part of them. I really like that a lot. So I'm not quite sure what.
Hi, Allie, over here. First, I want to say that I love your movies, and
in the Breakfast Club, definitely. And why is because that I could do so many things with her, and it just doesn't, you know, I mean, the kind of characters I really want to play things, and they just don't come along that often, and I think sometimes them because people think that I'm, you know, this very clean-cut sort of person, and wear leather skirts and just try and look as different as possible, and it's really, but that's the kind of thing I like to play, real characters, you know, not just the heroine.
Oh, okay.
25 next month, I'll be 25.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Talented younger actors and actresses, but are there some of the older actors along those lines?
Yeah, I love both of those actresses. I really admire Jane Fonda. I'd love to work with her one day. And Katharine Hepburn is my favorite actress, by far. And I think, who else? Yeah, Jessica Lange is great, isn't she? She's really good. I don't know, but I did have one dream come true already, which is when I worked with Ellen Burstyn, I have to say. I always thought that she was just so wonderful. And then I walked into rehearsal, and there she was, you know, living, breathing, a real person and everything. So,
I was also wondering, both when Jessica Lange was here, she said that one thing that helped her become as good of an actress as she is she moved around a lot when she was younger and always got to try out a new personality. Mm-hmm. And Kathleen Turner said the same thing in an interview I read with her. Is that true for you also?
No. I was in the same place.
Were you the class clown or act up a lot?
Nope. Nothing. I wasn't very popular in school at all. I really didn't have a lot of friends or a group that I hung out with. I mostly stayed by myself, and I wrote, and I liked to be in plays because I was happy doing that. But I never was outstanding, I didn't think, in school in any particular way at all. So.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome.
You did a TV movie this fall with Ted Danson about, I guess, being a doctor in Africa.
Right.
And I was just wondering, do you think that the governments are doing enough there? Because I remember seeing in the movie, it seemed like there was some food there, and it was all the red tape to go through to get it. Is that true to life?
That's accurate.
Okay.
That's what I saw when I was there. Just a lot of... I talked to a lot of doctors when I was there, and they said that there would be huge bags of grain rotting in the train stations and loading docks because there wasn't enough money to get anybody to carry them from there to a refugee camp because there wasn't any incentive for it at all, and so it would just sit there.
Do you think America has kind of, USA for Africa was 2 years ago, and it was like last week's news. Do you think there's still a commitment on the part of America to do anything about that?
Yes, I do. I think people are conscious about the rest of the world and that they want to do something for those kind of countries. I just think it's very complicated. Just having been there, being in Africa really changed the way that I look at everything. I mean, when I came back here, I felt completely different, and it's not. Being in that kind of culture, I realize it's not this cut and dry situation. It's not like, yes, we're this big superpower country and we're going to save this other country. This continent. We'll go give them food and everything's going to be fine. It's not like that. It's very complicated, and the people there have a lot of different issues going on, and they don't particularly want to get saved by America or anybody else. And so it's interesting, but it's not cut and dried, and there were a lot of things that I saw there that didn't seem to make any sense as far as getting food to people and what the people there would actually accept, that I can't explain really.
Hi, on your right. You talked earlier about being involved with the Toxic Waste Initiative last fall, and I was curious if you could talk a little bit about how you feel about actors being involved with political issues and their being able to get access to publicity and the relationship to an issue in a political campaign?
Personally, for me, I think that it's a very positive thing to be involved in different political and social issues, and I think that it's an asset to me that people know who I am, so that if I think, if I speak about something in particular and somebody knows who I am, then they'll probably won't turn the page of the newspaper if they're reading about it or something like that. There are a lot of actors who think that that's a misuse of notoriety to be involved in this kind of issues. I don't think so at all. I think it's positive, but it's a real individual choice.
Me again. I was wondering, a lot of the people you have worked with have been labeled as being in the brat pack, and I've read a lot of interviews where a lot of them are upset with that. They don't like the label, and they don't think their portrayal in the press has been fair. Is that the same for you? How do you feel about that, and how do you feel about that whole label of the brat pack?
Actually, the first time I heard the phrase "the brat pack," I thought that it was funny. Somebody thought up a name. That name was stupid, but it's a name. And then I don't really, to tell you the truth, I don't really read that kind of thing. Because I don't really. It's sort of like going around and interviewing everybody on the street or in school, and saying, "What do you think of me?" and "What do you think of me?" You know what I mean? Everybody's going to have their own opinion. So I don't really read it. And I figure people are going to write what they're going to write. And if it's going to bother me, then I'm the only one who's going to suffer about it, so I might as well just ignore the whole thing. So that's what I do.
I read somewhere that when you were doing St. Elmo's Fire, when they took you to the apartment, you took little things with you, like magazines and stuff like that, and just kind of spread it around in the room. Are you like that? I mean, do you really become the character that you play while you're playing the character? Do you lose Ali Sheedy and become, say, Allison, or do you do that or no?
I don't walk around 24 hours a day in character. It doesn't work for me. But I have noticed that you start to take on another persona a little bit. I mean, I every time I play a different character, I start to wear clothes that are sort of like something they would wear all the time. And it's not conscious. It's just thinking about them so much, always. Like, would they stand like this? Would they stand like that? Every time I say anything, would so-and-so say that? It's just this constant thing.
One more thing. What difference did it make? I mean, the fact that you took, little personal things into that apartment. Because probably a lot of people couldn't even see that in the movie, just thought...
I know, but I see it because it takes so long to film the scene that we'd be there for hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and every time I look around, I'd see stuff that makes her real to me, or her environment, whoever she is, real to me. And so it helps me that way.
Okay.
Hi, Allie, to your left. You said you're interested in writing. What kind of screenplay would you like to write? Do you have any ideas, or it's a long way from now?
I have ideas. I've been afraid to write for a long time because I had a lot of success with my writing when I was very young, and then I felt like I had to top that, or I had to be something or do something that was extraordinary, and so I got paranoid about it and I stopped writing altogether. And lately that's changed. I've been writing some articles, and I've been writing a lot just at home, and I do have ideas for things, for screenplays, but unfortunately I don't know enough about writing screenplays to say that this would be good or it wouldn't be good. I mean, I'd like to be good because it is, not just because somebody thinks it's cute that I wrote it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go there's a course I found out about that I want to take and see if I actually can do it or not. I don't know.
Also, where do most actors and actresses go to learn to write? I mean, do you go to a college, or do you go, personal screenwriters that teach playwriting?
I just researched and asked different people, is there a good screenwriting class in town? Is there anything? And it's somebody that I really trust told me that there was a wonderful course, and I can't remember the name of the man who taught it, but I have it written down. And she said he teaches it every month, and it was good, and that she learned a lot from it, and I should try it. So that's the one I want to go try.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hello, Allie.
Hi.
You've worked with some rather popular directors, and they seem to be rather good very powerful films that they make. Could you describe, just briefly, some unique experiences working with them, or things that stuck out in your mind working with them that took you by surprise or enhanced you as an actress? Something that they gave you that was unique to them?
I guess John Badham was one of my favorite directors, and I haven't worked with that many, but I like him a lot. And he is great because he doesn't, he's not into some kind of control sort of trip, I guess. He doesn't feel like he has to be controlling about everybody all the time. He really lets you go off and do your own thing and then bring it in. And then he'll tell you right out, straight, which is what I really like. It works, it doesn't work, I like it, I hate it. You're not doing, give me something else. He's very direct that way. And also there was some scene in something that I was worried about doing that he was directing, and I brought him aside and said, oh, I'm worried, I don't know if I'm doing this right, I'm scared I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be as good as you want me to be. And he said, don't give me that. He said, you're fine, you know what you're doing, just don't worry about it. He gave me a hug and said, don't even talk to me about this anymore. You know what to do, and you're wonderful, and just come in and do it. And he made me feel so confident, like I didn't have anything to worry about at all, that I just came in, and the whole time we were doing it, he kept coming over, putting his arm around me and going, you're doing fine. And then it was over, and I felt like a princess. I felt on cloud nine. I thought that was great of him, and he didn't really have to do that, And John Hughes is an interesting character because he walks around with, at least he used to, I haven't seen him lately, but he walks around with, jeans on and T-shirts and these high-top basketball sneakers that are always untied. And he looks like some goofy kind of character out of, National Lampoon or something. And that's the way he really is. So that's fun. I like that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Allie. Recently you did a movie over in Africa about the Ethiopian famine.
Right.
And I'd be interested in knowing kind of what the experience was like, especially, working with the African people, and maybe how it changed you, or, what it did to you.
It changed me a lot. I mean, we filmed this movie actually with tribal people in the desert outside of Ethiopia. It was 120 degrees every day. We were living in tents, and there was no running water, and there was no shower, and there was no bathroom. There was nothing. There was no telephone. There were no buildings. It was just sand as far as you could see on these people. And I spent a lot of time with them, and I didn't have a language I could communicate in with them. So it was all just, especially these kids, just looking at them, and they just talk on and Rendili, which was their tribal language, and there was one girl I spent hours with every day, and I'd never spoke one word of her language, but we had conversations without words, which was incredible. And it was, I found it very, very difficult over there. It was very hard to be in the desert, when you're used to living in Los Angeles where there's a distraction every single second, and all of a sudden be there where there's nothing. It really threw me back on myself. And the situation over there that we were in was very difficult also. So I thought either I'm going to be resilient enough and resourceful enough to get through this on my own strength, or I'm not, I won't be able to, and we'll just see what happens. And I got through it, and I really do not look at a lot of things that we have here in the same way as I did before I went there. I was in a sort of strange kind of culture shock when I got back, and it hasn't left, so I don't think it's going to, It just changes my perspective.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome.
We have time for one more question.
Hi. I was wondering if you still go back and read She Was Nice to Mice, and how do you feel about, your growth as a person since, 12-year-old, and how you've changed and, grown personally?
Well, I've changed a lot. I've had a lot of adventures in my life up to this point. And I have a lot of contact with people, great numbers of people, which is, I think, makes me a lot more, I like it because it makes me a lot more aware of the kind of characters that are out there, and I think I can bring that into my work. So it opens me up as a person. And, when I was 12 years old and I wrote that, I was just spent all the time by myself, and I had this fantasy world, and I thought there were elves in the trees, and things like that. And I still think that. Sometimes I don't really go back and look at that book, but I actually forget a lot of the time that I wrote it until somebody reminds me. And when I think about it, it feels like a real accomplishment to me. It's something I love the feeling that I really did that, even though it seems like it was another person who did. So it's very rewarding.
Do you still, find traces of a recluse in yourself, that, a person who was alone, preferred to be alone, when she was young, and now she's exposed to, so much, social...
Well, I have an ability that I've found that for some reason I can be in a group of a large amount of people and still feel like I'm alone. Sort of. I don't ever have the feeling, and I know a lot of people who do, that they're being pulled in directions and that they're afraid and they don't want to hear about it, they don't want to see anybody, and I never have that. I feel very comfortable with a lot of people, and I don't feel like I'm going to lose myself somehow. I feel very strong about who I am, and maybe that's because I spent so much time all by myself when I was growing up. I don't know, but I have it.
Allie?
Thanks. Yeah.
You say you're not going to USC anymore. If there were one university that you would like to go to, where would it be?
Is this a trick question?
Where would it be, say, UCLA?
UCLA.
UCLA. Well, UCLA Campus Events has a special memento for you.
Oh, I thought
today.
It was going to be a diploma.
No, well, this is an honorary T-shirt diploma, and here it is.
Official UCLA Campus Events T-shirt.
Yeah, that's great.
We'd like to thank Allie for coming today.
That's great. Thanks. Thank you.